Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Game Junction Podcast. I believe this is episode 24 with our guest, Blitz and Pips. What's up?
Yo, how's it going?
Plus we got Brandon.
What's up, guys?
And we got Game Amber. What's going on?
Howdy.
Yeah, so I hope everybody's enjoying. So I guess we'll get right into it. So I guess we're going to focus on, for the first little section, we'll focus on you, ask you some direct questions since you're our guest of the hour.
Go ahead, switch things up a little bit this podcast. Try it out.
Yeah, right, a little bit. So just like, I guess dive right into it. What got you into YouTube and content creation as a whole?
So it's actually kind of funny. When I moved to, I live in Maryland now, and when I moved here from Texas. I kind of had a small game room, and then when I moved here, I finally had room to build a game room. Not this one. This is my second game room. I've moved twice since I moved here, but my first place, I built a game room. It was cool, and I had all my, usually back in the day, I'd have like all my friends come over, but I was living in Maryland like by myself, so I couldn't like interact with my friends anymore with the game room and stuff. So I was like, you know what? What if I like could stream stuff and kind of like still hang out with my friends, but be somewhere else? And then I figured out I needed a computer to do that, and I'm not a computer person. So I kind of like built a janky computer, and it couldn't stream. I could record and edit videos. So I decided to just like, I'm just gonna make some videos, because I mean, like, I'm always getting collector's editions of games and stuff, and I know there's a lot of people who buy the stuff and they want to keep it sealed for whatever reason. So it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna play it. Like, I'm always gonna play my games, so I could open it and show people, and it's kind of a way to interact with my friends back home. And then it just kind of spiraled into what it is now.
Just like a happy little coincidence.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like you're coming along pretty well. It seems like you're doing pretty well on some of your content.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really hit or miss. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the algorithm. Like, it's for real. Like,
yeah,
I'll make a video for no reason it'll get a couple thousand views, and then I'll make another video and it'll get 20 views. It's like, okay,
it's bizarre.
So I missed something.
Sure.
The algorithm just not promoting this. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I do it for fun. It's not like this is a paycheck or anything. So.
Yeah, that'd just be a nice little bonus on the side if you happen to make money. But
yeah,
kind of seems like have to like a passion for content creation first and foremost. Whether you're gonna make money on it or not shouldn't matter. You just want to make the content because it's like a hobby. You enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah. I've noticed. I don't know if anyone else here has noticed this, but the videos that like I really want to make, like of something that I think is funny or whatever, those are the ones that like get no views.
We were just talking about that today.
Every time.
It's like I'll
time.
put so much time. In fact, a good example is the video I just put out on Tuesday. Amazon Prime was giving away a Switch game for like the first time ever. The Prime Gaming, well, it's the first time for me. And it was this game called Mom Hid My Game. I didn't know anything about it. And it's basically a point-and-click puzzle game. And there's 50 levels, and it's really quick. I mean, I beat the game in like an hour. And you start the game, I was like, this is stupid. And all of a sudden, like, the puzzles get really weird, because it's in your house.
Really
Yeah.
weird.
And, like, yeah. So, it starts out like, oh, you move the books, there's your game. And then it's like, oh, there's an alligator. You have to prop its mouth open. And like, the end of the game... Yeah. Well, the end of the game, you have to, like, lock your mom in a closet to get the game. And you're like, okay, cool. That's how you beat that level. And then you click the last level, spoiler alert, and like it's like years down the road, and you're like a fat nerd otaku guy, and the game's right there on the table, and if you click it, it's game over, which typically it hadn't been. And when you open the door, it's like you're free. It's like this weird, like, I was like, what the heck? I was like, this is hilarious. So I made a video about it, and it's like 20, 70 views.
Some weird metaphor on life or something. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. It's weird. But hey, whatever.
Yeah,
I tried it out. I didn't beat it, but weird game.
Yeah, you literally beat it in an hour if you sit down and just, like my wife beat it. She doesn't play video games at all.
Yeah, that's my weirdest first encounter with that was one of the early games that introduced me like to VTubers, and that's where I first saw the games. I'm like, what is going on? That's a whole other weird topic to even go down.
I still don't get that one, but I don't think I will.
You just have to walk over here. Here's Pippin. The other half of the channel is never on.
Yeah, right. So I guess along that, because I know it's you and your dog is kind of like with your logo and your channel. Did you get the idea from Rick and Morty for your channel title name? That's the first thing that popped in my mind.
Exactly. Yeah, that's actually where I got the idea. Because originally, my friends when I started the channel, it was like to play games with my friends and stuff. And they were all kind of saying like, "Oh man, we want to see Pippin because everyone loves Pippin. He's the best." So I was like, "Yeah, it'll be Blips and Pips." And he was in like, if you watch my really early stuff, he was in almost every video, but he just doesn't cooperate.
Hard to act with a dog.
Worst YouTube partner ever.
Yeah, I mean he's cute as hell, but he won't stay still for nothing.
You still love him though.
Got 6 hours of filming and a 10-second clip that came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
Love
Yeah,
it.
that's where the name and the logo came from. I mean, he's here. I will say that he is here every time I'm filming. Every time I'm doing anything, he's just literally on the dog bed.
Just chilling, watching you.
Awesome.
But he's
Love it.
still part of it, I guess.
You just can't put a camera in front of him and want him to do something. He's like, nah, I don't get that camera out of my face.
Yeah,
Camera
exactly.
shy, that's all.
Yeah,
Aren't
Dad
we
is
all?
gonna do something inappropriate.
Like, oh, I've seen this before. We watched a video on YouTube. This is gonna end badly.
Right.
I love it.
So I guess another dive into this a little bit more. What got you into like the love for gaming?
So, yeah, when I grew up, I didn't really have much money or anything, and most of my games, not all of them, but I mean the vast majority of my games, like secondhand and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do remember the first like video game thing I ever got it was for Christmas, and it was the Super Nintendo like set that came with Donkey Kong Country and Tetris and Dr. Mario. And like I remember just playing Donkey Kong Country and being like, this was like the business. I was like, this is so cool. I love this. In fact, one of my favorite gaming memories, like everyone gets chicken pox when you're a kid or whatever, you stay home
Yeah.
from school. I remember in the second world, there's like a minecart level, and being a very young kid, like I just couldn't beat it. And I beat it when I had chicken pox. I remember being like really, really itchy, like and I just somehow I beat it, and I was so excited because that's where the save point was. I could finally continue the game. But yeah, it all started with a Super Nintendo for me. I know. I think Brandy, your first deal was 64, right? Kinda.
So, I played on a Nintendo Entertainment System first with my cousins because they're a lot older than me. But my first home one was the Jungle Green Donkey Kong Nintendo 64. So like Donkey
That's
Kong
cool.
tends to be a theme here.
See, it's Donkey Kong. On my screen you're below me, so Donkey Kong is the way to go.
I love Donkey. Do you like Donkey Kong Country 3? I didn't know until recently that people don't like that game.
So it's actually funny. I did a video at the end of December of all the games that I beat like in the last year that I hadn't beaten before. Like I always beat Halo every year with a friend of mine. But I actually this year beat Donkey Kong Country 3, played it and beat it for the first time ever. The way I have my setup when I'm editing, like here's my computer and I have a TV here for when I'm like doing video recordings. And as I was processing videos, I would just went on the Nintendo Switch Online, and I owned Donkey Kong Country 3, but just I didn't have it when I was a kid. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was playing it there, and I beat it for the first time. I don't know if it's nostalgia or not. I definitely like 1 and 2 better, but it wasn't a bad game. I mean, I don't know. One of the things that stuck out to me is I didn't like how some of the enemies looked. Like the buff guys, like they looked kind of weird compared to like Crusher from the first game. But it was cool. I like the powers, the new like the elephant like being new and some of the stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't play, so mine was a little bit weird in that I played the first Donkey Kong Country on Game Boy Color first, and then I got 2 and 3 on the Super Nintendo. Yeah, and for the longest time, 3 was my favorite, like as a kid. So like I just brought that along with me. I remember having a conversation with somebody recently. He's like, "That game's terrible. Like, there's nothing good about that game. Play 1 or 2." And I'm like, "Let me look into this a little bit." And what do you know? There's video after video of why Donkey Kong Country 3 is so bad compared to the others. And I'm just like, I don't have a good taste in games, apparently.
I think the secrets are cooler in 3. Like, there's that whole deal where you have to like drive around the whirlpool so many times to unlock that. Like, you can't do that because there was no like open world. I don't know what you'd even call that. Like open map.
Right.
There wasn't anything like that before.
It was cool. I mean, I can get now the whole stuff with Trixie and I don't know. I still like it though now, and it might be nostalgia speaking, but I don't think it's a bad game.
You gotta make
It's definitely not bad.
You gotta make a video detailing why Donkey Kong Country 3 is the best game.
It's
Best Donkey Kong Country now. I gotta like get those rage clicks going.
When
Get
I
Ocarina of
replay,
Time out of my face.
Yeah, right.
Terrible game. When I replay Donkey Kong Country, that's how I go back and play it, is on the Game Boy Color. Played it again last year. Went back, played on the Game Boy Color. It's
actually-
obviously not the premier way to play, but it's a nostalgia thing, and I like it. It's not bad.
That's actually a game I pointed out. This is an old video I made. I made a video, kind of around like, you know how back in that time they would come out with a handheld version of a game.
Right, different game. But...
Yeah. So the spin I put on the video was like, here's like so many examples of that, and basically in the mindset of like, your grandma went to go buy you a game. You said, "Oh, I want Jet Set Radio, your Jet Grind Radio," and grandma's like, "Oh yeah," and comes back with the Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And like Donkey Kong Country was the one I had there as like my most egregious, only because Donkey Kong Country 1 was my first game.
Sure.
And I remember I loved the Game Boy Color, and I saw it came out, and I bought it for the Game Boy Color thinking like, I can take it with me.
Right.
And then when I popped it in, I was like, what is this? Like, get this out.
Yeah, it's definitely... See, the funny thing about that is that they did the Donkey Kong Land games for the original Game Boy, but then also did a direct port of Donkey Kong Country to the GBA as well, which is essentially the same game. But
Just a little bit compressed audio, but
yeah,
yes,
a little bit
absolutely.
compressed, yeah.
Yeah.
But I got that weird nostalgic tick that I want to play it, and I go back to the Game Boy Color version, so...
We all have those. I will say that one game, I had this on the video too, that is like the opposite of that. Is
Right.
Have you ever played Battle Arena Toshinden on the PS1?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yep,
it's
just had it out
Yeah.
today, actually.
pretty cool game. Like, I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
it's a good
yeah.
game. But the original Game Boy version is
same.
essentially like a Street Fighter, like because you can't do a 3D weapons-based fighter, right?
Yeah.
But
Got it.
the Game Boy version, I think, is far superior. Like, it's so
It's
good.
fun. I have the R-Zone version.
Really? I didn't even know they had one.
I can't pull it down up there. It's not like I play it every day, but yeah, they have a do I not have it? A Gamecom version as well. Dang, I just had that
Love the
thing out, but
Game.com.
yeah,
Around there somewhere.
it's cool stuff
Yeah,
for
groovy.
sure.
So move on. Just going to do a few shout outs from the chat. So we got Carl Peterson going howdy. Millennial Collector Ohio. Happy Sunday, y'all. Carl was saying doggo when you had the dog on screen.
Yeah, Pippin.
Yeah, we had Justin Cauldron over on Facebook saying hi to everybody, and his first gaming console was a NES for him personally.
Nice.
Yeah, Carl made another comment about everyone saying their favorite game. Everyone has their favorite. That's one of the best things about gaming. You know, your favorite game could be someone's like most hated game. It is what it is. Nothing wrong with that. We all have different tastes.
My first 10 games were all 2600 games, and none of those are my favorite. I always go back to the NES for sure. That's what I like to claim as my first console, because that's the one I really got into.
Yeah.
2600 was just kind of a hand-me-down toy at that point.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I remember growing up with a mixture of the SNES and the 64 as far back as I can remember for the most part. So that's kind of what I grew up. A mixture of the 3D and the 2D. It kind of missed that jump in generation. I was just too young.
I have a cool question, because I've actually asked this question to my friends like over the past couple weeks, different people. You know, we're probably all in similar age brackets. I would say I'm
Close enough.
33, so you guys are probably around that, or maybe younger, older, who knows. But you know, everyone has that like, what's that moment that like was the big moment for games changing for you? Because like kids nowadays, I don't think are gonna get that huge moment anymore, because you know graphics are so.
yeah,
And so
completely
the
different.
go-to answer for most people seems to be like, you know, 2D to 3D, right? Super Mario World to Super Mario 64 was like, but for me personally, and I don't even remember which game it was, but the first time I looked down at a puddle in a game and saw raindrops, that was to me like
Mind blowing.
whoa.
Pokemon Ruby, you could see it in that. I remember.
Yeah,
I think for me on that situation, me and Mark are probably just slightly younger. I'll be 30 this year. Brandy, you're 31, 32?
Okay, we're putting everyone's age out.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
put him in.
no,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
kidding,
get
I'm
rude out
kidding.
here, Brandon.
I
kidding.
thought
I'll
I
disappear.
thought she was 21.
21.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Drink.
I think for me, I guess there's like a couple different answers, because I remember the first time seeing Link like look through the glass window in Ocarina of Time. That was a big
Okay.
one for me.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, probably some of the stuff with Super Mario 64, like the swimming stuff. 3D swimming was like a huge thing. But I think like a big jump for me, like I might be like a not really a weird answer, but Super Mario Bros. 3 was the first game I got super hooked on that I would want to replay over and over and over. Like it was a game I would just recycle. Like we only had a couple games, so I don't know. It's one of those. The Ocarina of Time one was a big one though. I remember looking through that window. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those moments, Brandy?
I would say probably since I played on my cousin's Nintendo Entertainment System, I would say playing like Mario and stuff too. Super Mario 64. That would have to be probably like a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, I remember
And as you get older too, like the character development, like that was probably another big jump for me. Seeing like the weird triangles and the weird polygons,
what is this?
shapes.
Still hold up better than PS1 though. Not sorry.
Bubsy 3D.
Oh god. I had that game too.
Oh, that's bad.
Terrible.
I guess mine was a little bit different because as far as I can remember, as of right now, I always had that 64, so I always have some reference to like the 3D world. But I do remember I don't remember exactly what year, what Christmas it was, but it was the year my brother got the GameCube, and with that he got one of the games that my dad got for him was the first Metroid Prime game. And I remember them booting that up, and at least going from like the 64 to the GameCube, especially the opening introduction of Metroid Prime. I remember being a kid watching that, just blew my mind that a game could look that amazing in 3D. It doesn't look like that now. It looks really dated, but back then it blew my mind. And that's just a memory that'll always stick with me. Of like, wow, gaming's crazy.
That's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually funny. Talk about blowing your mind. My wife doesn't really game at all, but like I said, I just got a PS5 like a couple weeks ago. And I'm a big Ratchet and Clank fan, so that's obviously the first game I'm going to play. And my wife came down, and she thought that I was playing a movie, because, like, the cutscenes go straight into the gameplay. Yeah. She's like, is this, like... That's like, nah.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Gaming
you can't even tell. You can't even tell it's switching from a cutscene to the game. It's so good.
It's made by Illumination. I remember I was playing Callisto Protocol, and I was like, bro, I can see the sweat. It's the sweatiest game on Earth.
I love it.
Yeah, it is. We had a few comments kind of in relation to that. Carl was saying, I remember seeing Dragon Lair at the arcade and going, whoa, like we could play a cartoon. Like it's back then, you kind of had like have the arcade machine to produce those kind of graphics.
QTE the game.
Yeah, it didn't seem too bad.
Dragon Lair is a good one though. I remember playing that in the arcade.
Yeah, and we had McKinsey over here commenting from Facebook. I recall being amazed by the flashing stars at the end of Mario Kart 64. I mean, it's like everyone's got their own memorable moment of like, this is like a huge jump, like an amazing thing.
Yeah,
the 64 is huge with that. We'll just never have that jump in gaming ever again. I mean, it's got to be
the hard 2D to the 3D.
Like a crazy VR situation to have it be such a massive difference, and even then, I don't know that that's doable.
I mean, you're already somewhat dabbling with the VR AR, so that once that jump is just gonna kind of it's not like a hard jump; it's a gradual progression with a lot of gaming graphics now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember popping in 007, and my stepdad walked in and saw, because they just took a picture of Pierce Brosnan and like slapped it on.
Yeah, right.
He was like, "Holy crap, you're playing as Pierce Brosnan!" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Like, it'll never get better than this."
The graphics are so bad too.
This is the end. Let's go. This is it.
Yeah, and how they do.
That game does not hold up. I loved it as a kid, but those controls are rough.
Yeah,
I know.
I had a comment from here. Like, it's I know Brandon put this in here, but apparently you've got a love for music and you play instruments. Apparently.
Yeah, I know. I play fluently. I play 9 instruments. But I can jam on a couple others.
It's 9 more than I can.
I've been playing music since I was a little kid, though. Like, little kid. Like, actually, I have them. They're in my office. I have a set of drumsticks that are framed. That are I broke it 22 months old, and my parents framed them and said the first but not the last.
That's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah. No. It's actually when I was in high school, huge into music, huge into jazz. Of course, in high school, when you're in band, it's like marching band or jazz band. And I was playing saxophone then as my primary instrument. my band director was a big saxophone guy, and on my final show at a swing dance thing, like we did like a dual solo. It was really cool. I remember I was going to graduate and everything, and he's like, "Oh man, so you're gonna, go into music, right?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm going to school for engineering." And he was like heartbroken.
Like, oh, what is going on?
Yeah, I was
Terrible.
like, "Sorry, if I made music a job, I don't know if I'd love it anymore."
It could kind of be hard blurring those lines. I did have a
Yeah.
question. How much do you like remember as far as like I don't know the word, but like reading the sheet music, understanding like different types of instruments playing together in like a big band or an orchestra type thing?
Yes, so I could still I read sheet music for saxophone and clarinet, guitar and stuff. I just do tabs. Not that I couldn't decipher it, but like I can sight read, with saxophone and clarinet 'cause I did it for so long.
Yeah.
But like music theory always really interested me. In fact, it was really cool. I had a guitar teacher. He's now like one of my like just life mentors, back home in Florida. And we used to trade. He was a huge like he's the opposite of me. Like he loves math and stuff, but didn't want to do that as a career. So he did music for a career, and I would trade guitar knowledge and music knowledge for math and science knowledge. Like we'd every time, like I'd go and he'd teach me some cool music theory, Lydian, Mixolydian modes and stuff. And I would teach him like polar coordinates or some kind of differential whatever. And so like yeah, I still remember all that stuff because when I'm recording music now, which I don't really put on my channel or anything, but like you have to have structure, right? I mean, and that's the cool thing with being math minded is a lot of it is technically math structure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I still keep a tight grasp on that, only because I play so much.
Yeah, because I know when it comes to music, I have seen there are people on YouTube that are more obviously they went to school for music, but I've seen them talk about more with the retro stuff with the gaming about how the limited and how they make amazing sounds with the hardware, plus kind of how it works
yeah.
with the music and the modern music, certain like tempos. Somebody like me who doesn't understand breaking it down to I can somewhat understand music.
A game I can highly recommend for anyone who has a Switch. I mean, it's really an app like for your iPad, but Korg, like the synthesizer,
Yeah.
they have a thing called Korg Gadget for the Switch. I have a physical copy of it, but you can buy a digital copy. Essentially, it's like you can make your own songs on the Switch, and they have a really good way of explaining how it works, and like it's almost dummy proof. So like if you wanted to like just make sounds and cool kind of techno-y digital music, and they even have soundboards you can get for like Sega Master
Almost
System.
everything. Yeah, I've got it
Yeah.
on GBA and DS.
Mhm.
It's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, like if you ever just wanted to have fun with music, yeah, check out the Korg Gadget on the Switch. It's neat. It's good for like if you're going on like trips or flights or something.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't want to concentrate, but you want to do something fun.
I mean, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
My knowledge of music is what 5th and 6th grade with Brandon and middle school band and elementary school band. That's as far as it went for me.
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible. It's not terrible.
I played the snare drum then, and I think it annoyed my family so much I was never allowed to get a drum kit. So I went with guitar and bass. Yeah, fortunate.
Nice.
I was told I could not get drums. I really wanted the drums, but then I took guitar lessons and then piano lessons and then singing lessons because that was easier. But then they ended up saying, well, once you got the electric guitar, that was just as bad, like loud wise.
Yeah, right.
Especially when you
Yeah.
can't play.
No, I was pretty good though. I still have all my stuff. I just don't play it as often.
What we need to start a band then, Brandy.
Yeah, I don't know what it'll be called, but
I don't know, probably I don't know. Band naming your band is the hardest
the
thing.
hardest part. Yeah, don't ask me. I have no musical talent whatsoever. That'd be terrible.
Hey, you can fake it till you make it.
True. Just play bass.
Just
Pretend
gonna
like you know what you're doing.
just gonna like what do they call it? Just where the music's like pre-recorded and you're just pretending to play over top of it.
Right.
Which is every show now.
pretty much.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I was funning around on the guitar the other day, and I usually don't play like other people's music or like music that already exists, but I accidentally kind of stumbled across the notes for Sticker Brush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2, and I noticed that it was the same kind of like structure area as what's that really popular song from Undertale?
I know I could hear it, but I don't know.
I know what
the
you're
name of it.
talking about too, but I don't know the name.
Yeah, something Vania. Anyway, so I just kind of like did a weird mashup because I'm on the acoustic, right? So it just like I didn't edit it or anything, but like I just did the Sticker Brush Symphony part and then that over it with an electric guitar. I was like, dang, this sounds kind of actually really cool. It's a cool mashup. So I don't know. It's neat how patterns line up. They say like every major song is the same 4 chords, so I guess it makes sense.
Any punk band, just play power chords or any crappy chords over and over.
Yeah.
Every Green Day song.
Yeah. So we got some new guys. We got Retro Rob and Gigi McGee in the chat. You want me to notice you?
Hey, Rob.
Rob,
I just seen that. I was like,
Marky Mark and the Junction Bunch. I don't know why I'm like the center of this, but
Hey, you're in it now. We're all in this.
just send it. So did you have like a favorite retro console, retro game?
That's rough because like I always like to default to Donkey Kong Country being my first game, but Mega Man Legends holds such a high place in my heart. Like I love
Mega Man Legends. Love it.
I love Mega Man Legends so much. Not only do I own 1, 2, and Tron Bonne, but I've never seen another one of these. I have on my wall the Mega Man Legends 3 project poster with the ERB rating that was a Comic-Con exclusive at the New York Comic-Con like that 1 year before they canceled it. I've never seen one for sale or anything, but it's like one of my most prized possessions.
That's super cool. Mega Man's my favorite series, so definitely can relate on that. I had played 64 version, so didn't get the 2 until I got a PS1, but yeah, I love that game. Love it.
Yeah, I have a whole Mega Man shelf. You can't, it's right there, but I have a whole Mega Man shelf in my wall.
Sort of see it.
Yeah, maybe I can. It's that one.
Nice.
Not bad.
For the Shard GameCube.
Love it.
But no, yeah, I mean, Mega Man Legend is so good.
It is good.
So good.
Just kicking that can around in 3D was cool.
Hey, how's you gonna get that Zenny?
Yeah, right.
Love it.
So Brandon,
So
oh no, you ask what you're gonna ask.
I was gonna ask. Yeah. What about you, Brandy? Favorite gaming console that you just default to something? Do you really have a favorite one to go back to?
Oh, it's always nostalgia for me. It's always my Nintendo 64 because that's one of my only like childhood items that I have in my collection. So I have my Jungle Green Nintendo 64, and then recently, this past year, I got the Donkey Kong box because mine got water damaged over the years. In my grandparents' basement, it got like waterlogged, along with some Pokemon games and things like that. So I was trying to, essentially get those over again because they mean so much to me. So I always default to that, and games, I'm usually all over the place with a lot of games. It's always like some sort of Mortal Kombat, and then just anything that like I remember on those like particular days, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Pro Skater 2, Mario games. It jumps around depending on my mood, I guess.
I'm the same way.
Those are always my go-tos.
Fair enough. What about you, Brandon?
I don't know. For me, it's probably GameCube. I think I was just at an age where I was old enough to start getting my own games. Like saving up for games, doing stuff to make money, and like I think there was just the most time invested in the GameCube for kind of just all of me and my siblings. Like we said all the way back to the 2600 up to that, we swapped systems all the time. Could only have one system, but it's probably that or the Game Boy Color, and that would be mostly for the Pokemon games. For me, that was like the only system I had until the Wii that was mine. Like a handheld was ours, but the console we shared. So it's like probably Game Boy Color actually, but GameCube is the one I go back to the most probably.
Yeah, I guess mine's would be the oldest because it's definitely more nostalgia for me. But it's Yoshi's Island on the SNES. That's just I remember playing the crap out of the game. It was like my favorite platformer that I've ever played. Then I got it when it came out on the DS, and it's just I don't know, something about that game just captured me.
I love the story about the development of that game. How like the higher ups were really pressuring him to do the pre-rendered graphics, and that's why that opening cutscene is that way.
And it's got
he's like
Super FX, one of the few games on that console that had that card or chip,
Yep.
whatever it is.
Star
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah. Stunt FX, isn't that the other one? Or FX Racer or something?
F-Zero, I think maybe had it. I could be wrong. I'm
No,
not sure.
that's a launch title, F-Zero.
That's right. It's a launch title. Yeah, Star Fox is the only one I could think of offhand then.
A series that
Yeah.
peaked with its second game on 64. They've been chasing that high ever since.
The second game, which was a remake of the first game.
Pretty much.
I
They had the
like
graphics to make it.
Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's a good game.
I think it
I
would
know
have been
most people don't like
good.
it, but
I think it was good evolution, but people didn't like it, and it just kind of died after that.
it wasn't a
Was that-
Star Fox game, so
Yeah,
Close enough.
was that the one made by Rare?
yeah,
Was that made by Rare?
yeah. 'Cause it was supposed to be called Dinosaur
Something.
Planet, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
something like that.
But Star Fox Assault was good too, which is also on the GameCube. I like that game.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Star Fox needed to evolve just out of the flying segment, and I don't know. It just
Did
seems like-
Mario evolve? I mean,
yeah, I would say it has.
I guess at that point in time it did.
Yeah, you have a mixture of the 3D and the 2D. I think they probably have taken
Might
steps
have been,
back,
yeah.
probably for development costs, but
I also
Yeah.
didn't know this till this year last year, that people don't like Super Mario Sunshine. I didn't know that. I thought that was just a universally loved game,
no, it's not.
but I
You mean
had no idea.
The garbage game known as... No, I'm just kidding.
You either love it or you hate that
I don't-
game. That's
I
what I've
didn't
seen.
have it as a kid. I played it at a friend's house, so I'm not like nostalgic about it.
Yeah.
Played it again on the Switch. Didn't care that much for it, but I don't think it's a bad game. It's not. Just doesn't feel like a 3D Mario game.
They did something different with that game for sure. They tried something new,
Yeah,
for better or for
for sure
worse.
different.
I think there's a discussion to be had of why did Flood not work, but Cappy really work?
Yeah, fair
You
enough.
know?
Cappy's more interesting.
People are
Yeah.
more, maybe now after an extra 20 years, are more open to more newer ideas. And back then, like you just came off 64, it's 2D 64, and then I guess they were expecting something similar. I don't really know.
Sure.
I mean,
Super
it's
Mario
hard to tell.
64 was so big, though. It was such a big, monumental game. It's
Hard to
like
follow
the
it up.
first. Yeah, it's so hard to follow that up. Like,
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else outside of like Ocarina of Time for Zelda that was like such a massive jump for a series in that regard. Like, I don't know. But also, Cappy's just more interesting when you can turn into a dinosaur and all the wild stuff you can do in that game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Stuff you just couldn't do on the GameCube.
yeah, for sure.
So I have definitely, I checked out a few, and I think Brandon has for sure as well. I
got
assume
one
Brandy
punch
has.
today.
But so what are you doing with your unboxing and your game review videos? Or what kind of got you into that? Why do you like doing them?
So unboxing stuff, especially like collector's editions.
Yeah.
I started that at first. Like I said, with my channel, I just want to like show my friends, like, you know, because it used to, everyone came over, we'd unbox it, all cool, and then play it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I started that. But then I had like weird things happen. YouTube's a weird place, and I guess marketing's a weird place, which I should understand a little better. My wife is a marketing person, so like she like does stuff like this. But
Yeah.
I end up having people reach out to me. One relationship that I've formed that's like really interesting. In fact, I'm waiting for something in the mail right now from them. Is Retro Fighters. I made a video, and this was like unprompted, but back when Retro Fighters was like still mainly on Kickstarter, I saw they had that Dreamcast Striker controller, and I was like, that thing is dope. I love the Dreamcast. Like, I love the Dreamcast. And so I backed that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I backed the Striker controller, and I unboxed it, made a video. I was like, this thing is awesome. Like, man, cool. And then they retweeted my video, and like my Twitter has like 5 followers. So I was like, oh, cool, a big company retweeted my thing.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then I got like an email from them, and they're like, hey, what's your address? What's your address? And I was like, oh, it was this. And they sent me all the colors of the controller, because they didn't even have the colors yet. So they sent me like
Right.
all 5 of them. I was like, whoa, awesome. So I made a video on that. And then ever since then, I've been like on a list of theirs, and they always say like, "Oh, you don't need to make a video, but you know, if you do, whatever." And they just send me stuff, and like it's funny because I'll just get like a random email where it's like Retro Fighters shipped. I'm like, what? And then you know,
Really cool.
it'll say what they sent, and I'll have to look it up because usually they send me stuff before it exists yet. And I'm like, oh, what is this? What did they make? You know what I mean? Like, what are they doing now?
I backed those the PlayStation. Got the PS2 and the PlayStation 1 collars. I backed that in February of 2020 and just got them in September. I was pretty ecstatic to
talk about this thing.
Yeah, I didn't go with the collared versions because I wanted them to match what I've got a plan with them. Like I actually don't play them enough to care too much, but I do play those. No, it's not for display reasons. There's a plan with them, but those collars are really cool though. I do like those.
Yeah, those are really cool.
I buy all of their controllers. We have some of the GameCube ones on the way too that we're going to cover.
Same here. Actually, that's what I'm waiting for right now. They're sending me the the Blade is the new one?
There's a Blade in the what's the other one? The Blazer or something else pretty similar to the name.
Like the new one, whatever the new one is, they're sending.
I don't remember.
I'm getting the.
I think it is Blade GC is what it's called.
Yeah, the orange and the purple are on their way to me, and I'm excited because I love offset sticks, and that's one of the big changes they made. So I'm like,
Wavebird. They're in the,
yeah.
That's really cool about those, and then obviously the Nixie controller. I'm sure you saw that, right?
Yeah.
The Nixie, it's wild too.
I've actually Nixie's another company that reached out to me a while ago, and they started sending me Switch controllers. And my major complaint with their stuff is at least the controllers I got was the vibration on them. It's either like nothing or like an earthquake.
I've got the LED ones around the whatever those are. Yeah, I did those for Go Nintendo. I reviewed those, but yeah, I think that's probably what you're talking about, right? Those ones. Yeah, I felt like the vibration was crazy on them. Other than that, I love the feel of them. You know, like adult hands need a bigger controller.
Yeah.
Joy-Cons don't do it.
Not like a kid anymore can't use this old SNES controller. It's like my hands are too big now.
My crinkled hands.
Well, I wanted to show you something because of you. I was watching some of your videos today, and I wanted to ask everybody's opinion. Should I do an unboxing of this?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I was watching a bunch of your videos today, and I'm like, you know what? I do agree that shouldn't just keep everything sealed, but when it's stuff like that, I have such a hard time opening certain things, and it's like the wrong mentality to have, but I don't know. It's just the way that I am with certain collector's editions. I think it's mostly the fact that I haven't even beat the first or second game yet.
Oh no. That's a shame because the third one's the only downside I say with the third one is because it's Switch exclusive, which I understand why, and you know, it's kind of cool that it is because Nintendo helped save Bayonetta. But like, man, like that game would perform so much better on not the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard that.
The only time I've ever gotten something that I opened it, of course, for the channel, but like I kind of was like a little nervous about like, man, I almost don't want to open this. Was the Xenoblade Chronicles with the record in it because I have a huge wall of video game vinyl.
I've got all those over there too. But,
yeah. And like a friend of mine and of the channel helped me import that because like, you know, obviously it's hard to get. So he actually sent it from Switzerland. And I was like, man, I almost don't want to open this. But, you know, I did. So.
Yeah,
I had that problem of I can't not open something. I'm like, I buy it, like I immediately I'll open it up. I don't care. Screw the box. I want what's inside. I want to see the goodies.
Yep.
Almost to a fault.
I think it's some of those goodies aren't really all that exciting, right? Like the box is the prettiest part of a majority of those I've opened up. Like I can't think of ever getting so excited about some playing cards and a CD that I'll never listen to in a collector's edition.
Yeah. One thing that's been bumming me out is I have a lot of unboxings on the channel and a lot of stuff from limited run games, and I love
me too.
Limited run games. You know, I'm like moderately half good friends with Doug, like one of the owners. But it's like I feel like recently, I don't know, maybe it's the games I don't care about or what, but like just nothing's been jumping out at me. I used to buy from them way more, and it's not even. I mean, like the wait times, like you know, you learn to deal with that. because like
Yeah.
you're gonna order
A year
game and then
minimum.
yeah, a year minimum. And so like that doesn't even bother me, but like I don't know, I got something from them recently and I had forgotten I purchased and I opened it up, I was like, this was cool, but I mean, why did I want this back then?
It's like an impulse buy at the time.
Yeah.
There's
FOMO.
some of them that are really, really cool, right? But it's not most of them. That's like less than 5% of those collector's editions are really anything super
Yeah.
exciting. And
Yeah, I think the only two boxes that I know of actually collector's edition that I have that I can remember were two expansions for the Elder Scrolls Online, just because they came with a mini Daedra statue or something, which is what I really wanted. So I gave them the extra $100 for this plastic statue. But
Right.
Yeah, I like the statues and stuff, but it's like that cardboard stuff, like the cards or the posters
who
or
cares?
little
Yeah.
cardboard things. I just like push it back in the box. I put all the
Yep.
little wrapper trash stuff, put it all in the box. Then I just either try and display the box or it just like goes in the
Right.
closet.
maybe
That's-
one day you'll have
that's
the
my
place
thing.
to pull them out and display them somewhere. But who knows?
That's a big
feel
thing.
bad 'cause I'm-
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I feel bad because I'm kind of the same way with the statues. Like, I'll buy something and I have a badass statue, but I'm like, I don't want it to get messed up, so just put it back in the
Put it
box.
back in the
Just put it
box. Yep.
I'm like, why'd I buy
Yeah.
this?
I don't even leave the statues out. Like, I can remember the first one I got was for Duke Nukem Forever on the 360. So the little bust. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys remember that, but
Yeah,
even
I
that
Yeah.
one from all the way back then, I put it right back in the box, never left it out. Like, and this is pre-collecting, so like I got this when it was new, and I wasn't like collecting then. Collecting wasn't as hot as it is now, but
I can't do that. I
I
gotta.
don't know.
If I'm gonna buy it, I buy it because
I think
want
it
to
looks
display it.
better in the box is the thing. Like, I
Yeah,
think
like-
most of them look
You
better
like
in
dust
the
it
box.
off, but I put all my statues. I pull them out. Like I paid good money to put this on display. I don't have small kids running around, so I don't have to worry about anybody damaging it other than me. But
Exactly.
I think the only collector's edition thing I own that I like regret buying is the Streets of Rage 4, the really big
Yes.
one. Like
Yeah.
that one.
I sold it.
Like the game was great. The statue
Love
was
that
cool
one.
looking. It's just so big. I don't know.
It is. It's huge.
I'm like,
No,
why did I buy
This
this?
guy right there, I regret buying that stupid thing.
I just want-
It's massive. The thing is like, I can't
I'll
even
take
fit
it.
my hands on screen. It's so big,
I'll
and
take
it's
it, man.
just sat up there. The game was garbage.
it was
Sorry.
buggy. I don't know,
It's
it was a
not-
garbage
It was
game.
buggy. It was buggy. It's not garbage, but I still haven't beat it. So.
Yeah.
I can't say this.
Anime was good.
Yeah, the
Still need to
anime
watch
is
it.
great. So good. I'm like, there's a lot of potential with this. Like, pretty good stuff. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we'll go in. We got a few quick topics to go over, and then I guess we'll go into some new stuff. So, what do you have any specific thoughts with game collecting in 2023 as far as like the prices go and how easy or hard it is to get certain things?
You know, it's funny. I was literally talking to a friend of mine about this. I was just in Ohio for a work trip, and I went to a game store that I love. And I walked in there, and they had a bunch of really cool stuff. You see the prices, and my first thought is like, God, I'm glad I already own that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But I'm at this weird point in my collecting life. So I buy games that I want to play or that have like some kind of meaning to me. Like I'm not, no offense to anyone in here, but like I'm not like a get all of the games for this console person.
I feel the same.
Like,
way.
I don't care about NBA 2K whatever. You know what I mean? Like don't care. But I'm kind of fortunate in the fact that most of the games I want, I have. In fact, almost all the games that I would want, I have. So I go into these stores and like I'm a big working designs guy. I have every working designs game
Oh god.
from like TurboGrafx up, and when it comes to TurboGrafx, not TurboGrafx and up, but above TurboGrafx, I own all
Yeah.
of them, every variant, whatever. And then
Wow.
on the TurboGrafx side, I have 3 games: Exile, Kadash, and whatever the hell that Cosmic something or other.
You got all the
I-
Sega CD stuff.
All the Sega CD stuff,
That's
all
awesome.
of the Sega Saturn stuff, all the big box, what have yous. I have a standee for Ark the Lad. I have the watch. I have the puppet. I have all the hardback books.
Wow.
I love working designs. And I walk into the
Great.
store. I walk into the store and they had like one of the cheaper working designs games that like should be like $100, like $400. I'm like, no, like oh no. And two of my neighbors, they're really cool. They saw my collection. Like I just got this house like a year ago. And they saw my collection, so now they're getting nostalgic. And so they're having me look out for games for them. And I'm picking up games for them or whatever. I'm like, man, I'm just glad this ain't me because like this is too expensive, you know?
Feels like everything spiked around 2020 when they have lockdowns. Everyone's like making videos about certain things. Retro, I guess, seems like it took off at that time period, and prices still just haven't come down. They're just staying up for now.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys use any of the apps. I have like Game Eye to keep track of my stuff. And like, granted, like Panzer Dragoon Saga, I have that game, and I got a crazy deal on it. Like I got it back when it was worth $400. Some weird thing happened. It's a long story, but I got it for $50. And now it's like well over 1,000. Like well over $1,000. I'm like, who's buying that? Like who's like, oh yeah, here's a game that obviously if I spent $1,000 on a game, I'm not gonna play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on the shelf with you. We're not touching it. But I mean, it's a shame, and part of the problem I think too, as far as game hunting, in Texas anyway, and it's different up here in Maryland. In Texas, you used to be able to go to like a Goodwill and get some awesome scores, but then Goodwill started sending all their stuff to their online eBay store, and you can't do that anymore.
Very
like I remember, I went to a Goodwill once, and I walked out with a stack of PlayStation games this tall. They were like $2 each. One of them was Tomba 2, Einhander. I was like, I mean, it was a dream day. It's one of those things that doesn't happen often. Happened before I had a YouTube channel. If I had a YouTube channel, I would have been like, oh my God, game hunting. Got Einhander for $2.
Yeah, right.
I feel like you can't do that anymore. You get lucky with yard sales, but yard sales are just now kind of coming back with the pandemic being kind of ending.
Feels like...
But even that kind of stinks. I don't know if you guys go yard sailing at all, but it used to be you go to a yard sale, you have $20 in your pocket. Some guy has a thing for 30. Oh, hey, I only got $20, and then you haggle. But now it's like, oh, you got Zelle, you got Cash App. I'm like, oh man, come on, no.
And they're real competitive. Like literally, people have to post yard sale at 8 a.m. Will not sell anything before then, and then you go there. And there's a whole line of people just standing outside hassling the poor woman who's trying to sell the stuff. And it's all these like resellers. And I get you can make money in this stuff, and I'm not going to, go against you if that's your job and, you only do that. But it's like it gets so discouraging a lot of times because, you used to find all this stuff. You get used to it. And the next thing you know, you're having to spend hundreds more on certain items that you want for your collection. You want for a greater purpose type thing, and then it's like you used to get that stuff for $2, and it gets a little discouraging at times, but you just for the best.
The street over from me, Mark, you remember Matthew? I remember getting Clock Tower 2, Lunar. I think it was I can't remember which Lunar it was. The 2-pack one, so both discs and the little sleeve, and then there was something else. Not as exciting, but I got all three of those games for $5, which now that's crazy. I still have the CD from having the Lunar pack, but it's just not that way anymore. I don't know if it'll ever be that way again. To be honest with you, it's a competitive game. It's crazy. Collecting's crazy.
Once things change, it's kind of hard for them to go back unless this market just utterly crashes.
There are still deals out there, but you have to work for them, and you have to devote a lot of extra time to get them.
Yeah.
For me nowadays, the only way to get that thrill, that like retro gaming hunting high for me, is to go to random yard sales that don't have games and ask them, "Hey, you got any old games in the back?"
Yep.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be nothing. But I mean, a great example. This happened up here maybe a year ago. I did that. I was like, hey, you have any old games? Oh, yeah, I got some stuff in the back. Lady came out with, and I'm not the biggest Pokemon guy, so sorry if I sound a little dumb about this, but it's the Soul Silver, right? The DS one? And it's the big box with the walker and all that. It was complete in box. I'm looking at it right now. Complete in box, and she gave it to me for $5.
Wow.
And like,
steal.
I knew at the time, I was like, look, I know this is a Pokemon game. Regardless, it's worth money.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of the best.
So at the time I knew nothing. And I talked to a friend of mine. He's like, dude, that's my favorite game. Like, oh my God. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the only way that it excites me anymore. Because you can't find stuff. I mean, unless you really get lucky or you're really like always honed in on Facebook Market and you get them first before other people. Yeah, if your name's Brandy, and you get a Mike Tyson standee in the box for $5.
$80, and then I was offered
Sure.
close to like 10 grand. So
Yeah,
you gotta
exactly.
take your wins when you get them.
Yeah, right.
That would have
Not
been
for sale.
that would have
Not
been
for sale.
sold. That would have been
Not for
buy.
sale.
Oh yeah,
Like-
easy. That would have been gone for me. I
Gonna
love
buy
Mike
it.
Tyson's Punch Out, but not that much. Not,
Yeah.
I want
That's
to
a
open
crappy
one.
boat.
I just want to open one. I don't really want the sealed one. I want to open one.
yeah, because what are you going to do? Display the little brown box that says
Box?
there's a sticker in here, and we have a standee.
It's on display, but it's an eyesore.
I mean, it's
It's a
possible.
display of a display.
Yeah.
I tell you another thing that's kind of messing up game collecting is like these perceived values, and a lot of that comes from grading games. I don't know how y'all feel about grading games.
Not the
I have
fan.
one graded game. I actually have it right here, and I did this as a joke. It's on my channel as a joke, and it's funny because they finally made the population reports. So it's Mighty Number 9 on the Wii U.
Oh god,
And look at 9.2, baby.
most disappointing game of all time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's funny because I got this graded obviously as a joke, to see how long it was to take and how much it cost, and because it was perfectly sealed. So I'm like, this has to get a good grade. Got a 9.2. They don't explain why or how, but the population reports came out, and I'm hoping WADA dies one day, but I hope they die sooner rather than later because this is one of one, baby.
$1 million.
$1 million. I'd be like, hey, there's only one grade. It's a 9.2. It's got the badge of something.
It's gonna be
Just
the,
a few years ago, my whole Walmart bin was filled with those. The game flopped
Right?
so bad.
he's
Yeah,
hoping it's
I
the
mean,
next
I-
the next ET game.
Yeah. Well, I bought it at a place up here called Starland. They're actually, you can buy
Yeah.
from online from them. But I
Yeah.
went there, and they had it brand new for like $3. I bought it, immediately mailed it off to WADA. The whole process cost like damn near $100 to do this stupidness. And yeah, so now it's worth like $7 probably.
Yeah, right.
So
Speaking of the
That's a net.
WADA, the graded, did you hear about the WADA graded where the customs like ripped
It's-
open the whole? It destroyed the box for Pokemon Yellow and everything.
Is that real?
Oh,
though?
oh.
Imagine.
I thought you were
Allegedly.
going to talk about.
I could
I
believe
thought you
it.
were going to talk about the. I thought you were going to talk about where they graded the fake Rondo
Oh,
of
the
Blood.
fake. Yeah,
That's not the one I
that
saw.
too. That was just last
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned that last week. Yeah.
I,
Two
I,
big things recently.
I'm almost wondering if maybe this whole destroying Pokemon Yellow wasn't like a way to,
Stunt.
you know.
Blow it
I'm
up.
not a
I'm calling
conspiracy
it.
theorist.
It's somewhat
Not a
staged.
conspiracy theorist, but yeah. Hey, these guys are grading fake games. Oh, this guy destroyed something.
That's what I'm saying. That was my first thought. I'm like, well, at first I'm like, that's a bummer. That sucks. Like somebody's not happy. But I got to thinking about it a little bit. I'm like, that seems like what the government does with everything. Like, here's the problem over here. Hey, there's something else going on. So-
The thing that kind of confuses me is, I travel a lot for work, and when I was in middle school, and this is after 9/11, so they're still super strict, right? I was actually traveling. I visited a friend in Spain. They were stationed out there in the military, and it was cheaper for me to go out than for them to fly here. And I wasn't even thinking, because I'm like a 14, 15-year-old kid or whatever. And I bought an airsoft like gun that looked like the Devil May Cry gun, right? But it looked like a real gun because
Oh,
in Europe you
sick.
don't have to have the orange on the front. And I just had it in my bag, and they opened up my bag and checked it and everything. And I know this because they put a card in there, and the gun was like there, good to go, safe, not broken, not anything. So I'm like, hold on, if post 9/11, like very recently post 9/11, they had a gun that looked like a gun and shot plastic bullets and didn't mess it up. And then they like tore open this water thing. And then not only that, you saw the pictures, right? They ripped the top off,
looks
pulled the box
mangled.
out, and like ripped the box in half.
Yeah, it seemed like unnecessary. Like, why would you rip the box
It's like
apart?
they would slice the whole. Like it looked mangled.
Oh yeah.
Something doesn't line up there.
Yeah, one disgruntled
I mean-
employee's like, "Oh, I know what this is. Screw this company. I'm gonna destroy this on purpose."
Yeah. Well, even then, you're not hurting the company. You're hurting the person.
Yeah.
But if anything, that's like discouraging because like now you have to like fear that if you are gonna get a game and you are gonna ship it, like that could happen anywhere, not just at customs. You know, any postal inspector can open that up. I mean, if anything, that's a little discouraging. I wouldn't want my tens of thousands of dollars if I spend that on a game or something to be, you know, destroyed. And I wonder how much like insurance was, if they cover that. I mean, that should be like a follow-up to that whole story. Like what happens next?
Oh, nobody cares what
Yeah.
happens next. It's just, oh, here's this will get clicks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so I guess we
That's
gotta
scary.
keep a few comments we hadn't hit in a hot second. I had Retro Robs coming in by and commenting. He made a comment about the market's out of control. I just went on a rant on the Junction page about the cost of games, everything like that.
He did.
Yeah, we have Y now joining. Y he likes our guest. Got another fan.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I
Uh,
like you too. You're looking good today.
Yeah, right. Retro Rob said, I'm in Texas. It's true. I assume that's a reference to something we talked about earlier. I don't exactly remember off the top of my head.
Probably
Maybe that's
back
about the
when
Goodwill or
Goodwill was
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, probably Goodwill. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be like the business. I saw they had stacks of
Was.
Xboxes, $15 each.
Oh, fair enough.
And game stores going off eBay. You ever walk into a game store, they don't have prices on things, and then they have to look
Yeah.
up the prices?
That's
All
like,
the time.
what are you gonna grab? Because I've seen the same game
They
go
do
for
at the flea
$5 or
market.
$100. Like, which one are you gonna pick? The higher one,
Yeah.
probably.
You know, pawn stores, sometimes you get lucky. I walked into one once and I got Lufia 2 for like $5, and they had a copy of Zelda 2, like it was really in bad shape. It's like, oh, that's a $25 game. It's got the gold on the cartridge. I was like,
Yeah.
too rich for my blood, man. You can
Yeah.
keep it.
And
I'll
they
stick with this
real-
Lufia. What is that? Here's your
It must
$2.
be Italian.
Yeah, just trying to make
Yeah.
money. But yeah,
Lufia.
Rashad was
You
making some
don't.
more comments. It's even more discouraging because the games are definitely not worth what they're asking for because they think they have retro treasure. Because the market, it seemed like in the past few years, is just overinflated with certain prices. Like, you need to bring those prices back down when you realize you're not selling it for as much as you think you can.
Yeah. If I see another $50 Mega Man X, I'm gonna scream.
I'll find one, then I'll sell it for $50, $51 just for you. We have McKinsey. Yeah, I traded the same Pokemon thing this year. So expensive. Yeah. Come back another one from Why Now. I collect only sealed games now, if not digital. I mean, if you can afford it, they seem to be more expensive depending on the game, if it's sealed or not. The whole the whole CIB just jacks up the price. People, it's like I've got everything. I'm gonna like triple the price of what everybody else is.
Sealed's even
for.
worse.
Yeah. Retro Rob
I
was
just can't have opening it.
Yeah, Retro Rob's making some more comments. Grading, it's the dumbest thing that I've seen. Wada's just caught grading retro games or repo games. I think we were commenting on that before.
Let's go, baby. $5 million. I'm gonna retire with this.
That'd be
Mighty
funny.
number 9.
Could you imagine if
Sold as like
if
a
that
meme.
really did happen?
I tell you, even if someone jokingly offered me good money for this, it would be gone in a second. I'd be like, see you later. Bye.
It's like I'll take this. I'll make a
Easy.
video on it just for the meme value, the video value itself. Yeah,
Game's so bad.
yeah. Why Now was saying I have them physical that way. If not, I just buy cheap digital. I'm not bad. Like if I bought when I bought an old 64, one of the Barman games, I was like, I just bought the game itself. Like I don't care about the box. It has stickers. The cartridges. It looks terrible, but I was like, it plays the game. It's good enough for me. That's how I see it.
Was it Bomberman Hero by chance?
No, it's just Barman 64.
Ah.
It was a classic because it's one of the two that I played growing up as a kid. So it's like I want this one for sure because the one I want, the second attack.
I want the second attack. Yes.
It's a better game.
That's an expensive
It is
game,
a
isn't
better
it?
game.
Yeah, I don't know why it's more expensive unless there's less cartridges.
There's not many of them.
Bomberman Hero was my first 64 game, is why I asked.
Yeah, I think I saw that it was cheaper, but I just for whatever reason at the time I was getting them, I was like, I want this one because I remember playing this one, so it has all the nostalgia to me.
It's way different. It's not like, Bomberman's like grid based. It's more like a Mario 64, like 3D open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the preferred Bomberman
I'm
for
like-
me.
Thankfully, I got those early on.
That second
So-
attack.
So thankful when I get things way before the price jump.
Just
You
jump
can't
on it
even
early.
do that now. There is no before the price jump. It's an immediate price jump. The game goes out of stock. Scout.
Yeah.
You're not getting that.
It's like all the
Good luck,
Pokemon
finding
games
one of those.
on the DS, the 3DS. It's happening to them now, especially with the digital store closing.
Yep.
But you officially can't get a digital copy. Those physical copies are gonna spike in price.
That's why you
Even
have to
like
hack
PS4
your
games,
3DS.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Brandy?
Even like PS4 games and stuff, I noticed certain ones go up in price too.
I just sold one today. Attack on Titan, the final battle. I'm like, I was pretty happy about getting it, but I think it's stupid. And VGP's doing they said they're going to do continuous reprints all year long, so I'll just grab it later. Somebody wanted it, immediately got that $100, and
Impatient.
it helps. I mean, and it's whatever. It's just what I threw it up at. Like I had to wait a month. I only made $20 on it. I paid $83, so not even $20. So it's whatever.
Yeah. No, RetroUp says it's happening to the Wii U now because it got the Wii U and the 3DS. I guess he made the comment in March they're officially shut. There's still ways you can still get money in a roundabout way to make the purchases, but yeah, once they're gone for sure, I'm sure they're gonna see spikes in prices. I mean, you already are seeing the prices kind of go up.
Why now says he only buys graded if collecting. I don't know about all that.
I should just send all my games in to get graded. They'd be terrible grades on half of them.
I know people that do that too, and that's
The box looked like it had its knife stabbed
Check
through
out-
it. Screw it and send it.
check. And no hate on your collecting. Check out like High End Game Room, some of those collector groups that focus on a lot of that stuff. It's interesting to say the least.
If I had the money, I'd buy like the one of one. If I had like $1 million to throw on somebody's graded, and then just rip open the box immediately, pull the game out.
There you go.
One
Buy
of
that,
one.
Mark.
If I had the money, like I want like a very sought after rare game. Like this is the first Mario 64 game sealed, graded. I'm gonna rip it open immediately. Just destroy. I'm gonna destroy the box. Like I got the
Just
game.
let
That's
it
all I
work.
care about.
My little heart would just not be able to take that. I'd be like, why would you destroy it?
A
Yeah,
troll.
Mark. I
would
could
just have
never
to
do
troll.
that either. I could
Oh,
never- I
because
couldn't
you
do that for a
imagine
new game.
the rage you would get by posting like a video of that.
Yeah, it'd be like, look at this guy. All these people would be crying doing these reacting memes and stuff to it and videos, and then you just see me like, ah, but preserving its history.
But I got the game.
So, I can think of one instance recently that I didn't have a problem with somebody doing something funny. And I don't know if you guys saw this meme, but somebody that I work with Go Nintendo, he did this meme. So he took a picture of the Overwatch disc and used it as like a pizza cutter. So you
It's
can't
worth
do
more
anything
like
with
that.
it now. Yeah, like
It's true.
GameStop's throwing them out. You can do nothing with it. So he made a pizza cutter with it. That's the only time it didn't bother me, but new
The all
games are...
digital feature.
Just buy a bunch of them and then just go, I don't know, disc golfing with a bunch of those worthless discs now.
It's sad.
I had a weird-
bummer.
I had a weird thing happen the other day. I don't know if you guys do any kind of like modding or anything to your stuff.
Oh, all the
But-
time.
Like my personal views on doing like reshells and stuff like that is I try not to use like a perfectly good console because I don't want to mess up something that is already nice. That said, I had an original Game Boy like DMG, and it was kind of jacked up. The lens was popped out. It wasn't really that great. And I made I'll go grab it in a second, but I made like a Saved by the Bells super retro 90s
I saw
awesome
that.
one. Yeah,
Very cool.
and like it was a cool build, and yeah, it's really fun to do. And I got this dude like really got kind of bent out of shape at first because he assumed I just had a nice one and did that to it. And I was like, no, man. I mean, I took a jacked up one. Like I'm not trying to go out of my way and mess up a good console. And it got me thinking like there, usually you get angry comments like that from someone who's like very, very obviously passionate about that
Sure.
view. And like it got me thinking like I didn't realize there's people who are like, I mean, I don't think that you should destroy a good console to do something like that. But like if you did, I'm not going to harsh you on it. It's your stuff. I don't care. But this guy was like, no, like you can't, it's in good condition. You can't mess it up. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was very adamant.
I had something similar happen, but I always so I got my Sega Nomad modded, and I still saved the original screen because it was fine. I just wanted the screen to look good because that is legitimately the way that I play my Genesis games. I just hung on to that screen, I've had it here. If there's ever an issue, if somebody's looking for an original screen, you've still got it. You're not harming your console by modding the screen with that. They're essentially almost plug and play at this point.
Yeah.
So some stuff I understand that. Like, I won't do mods that require cuts if it's like a good piece of plastic and looks good. So, like, you can be like, I'm still preserving the actual original hardware. In fact, I'm preserving it so much that I'm not using it anymore. So,
Yeah, exactly.
like, it's what I've had this. I did that in 2020, and I've hung on to it since. And, at some point, I'm sure there's somebody that'll want a stock one.
Yep.
And if not, it's still there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely keep all the spare stuff just in case. You never know.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Just want to let you know, GG McGee, I apologize if I missed some of your comments. Try not to ignore you on purpose. I promise. But I guess we had
nobody's trying to ignore comments.
Yeah, I guess we kind of went on to this. How do you see kind of game collecting like long term with some of the newer consoles and stuff like that, where kind of like you have the game but it requires like a day one patch almost to make it playable?
Oh man, I feel like the only safe way to just have a game in the future that's gonna be worth money because of that is gonna be, and I'm always on the fence, especially because I buy so many of them, but it's depending on like these limited run type stores, like not limited run specifically, but super rare and all
companies.
Yeah, because most of them claim that all DLC is on the cartridge or on the disc or on the whatever. So really, it's like it only kind of works for games where they claim that, and typically the ones that claim that are indies. Anyway, it's like you're not gonna be able to have the disc for Destiny 2, like that's not gonna work. But like if you have the cartridge for One Step from Eden, that weird Mega Man Battle Network style roguelike, like yeah, that'll have everything.
Yeah,
because they're not gonna change anything with that game. So I don't know. I mean, that's the only way to ensure that it will be worth anything in my mind.
Are you gonna have it preserved and not a official or legal way? You got someone that's got, if it's, as long as it's like online, they downloaded it to a disc and then they made copies of that, and you gotta make your own box, or if they're still physical, you can just kind of swap the disc out. But
for the Switch,
Yeah.
There's a whole website around that like new release games that are all either on disc or cart, so you can like look them up. They track that, and it's 90% of those like super rare or limited run, or all those guys that are claiming that stuff. So
you also have a lot of good luck with imports, specifically from Japan, because they have that mindset. Like I rebought the Mega Man the Mega Man Legacy collections, the Switch. They had like a box set.
Yeah, I did that too.
5 of them. Because like here in America, right? Like the collection, the Legacy 2 parts were all download,
all digital,
but on there they're all physical. Yeah, so I was like,
might be one way.
Buy that.
And maybe if you
big
get it
Mega Man fan
from a different market, they might print their media differently. It'd be nice. Get another comment. Carl agreed. Ari mods. I wanted to get an FM mod on one of my master systems, but don't want to potentially wreck a decent gaming system. Was lucky enough to get a Japanese master system which had a FM in it.
I believe the Master System 2 has FM sound too. I could be wrong.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
I think that's what I use, and I know that I upgraded from the first one. But yeah, I mean, get it. You can just always preserve those pieces. So
I play my Master System games in the adapter for the Game Gear, but it's the adapter for the Game Gear that I've plugged into the Game Gear adapter for the Analog Pocket, which I've plugged into the Analog Pocket, which is plugged into the dock. So
that's the ultimate Sega Tower of Doom right there.
Yeah, you thought the 32X Sega Castle was something? Try the Analog Pocket Master System from hell.
I love that. I want an Analog Pocket so bad. Definitely have my eye on getting one of those. Yeah, I play enough handhelds that I can justify it. It's really what I play the most of when I do retros. Usually Game Boy, Game Gear.
I pre-ordered. They just came out with that set. Of course, you can't get them anymore, but it's going to be later this year. It's a Neo Geo Pocket adapter, Lynx adapter, and something else. Neo Geo Pocket, Lynx, Atari Lynx, and I don't remember the last one.
Wonder Swan? Were they doing Wonder Swan?
I don't think
I can't remember what the other.
Because that would have been Neo Geo Pocket, Lynx for sure, and the third one was something I wanted too. Why can't I think of it? I don't know. It'll come to me, or I could look it up. I can just look it up. I'm not lazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, like I was
love
mainly
all
excited
those
for the Neo
systems.
Geo Pocket Color though.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite of those. I like the Atari Lynx a lot too. Big fan of that
Yeah.
system. Yeah,
Turbo graphics, that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I use my Express. I would still want that. Those screens are very, very nice. I got my Express modded last year and used my Turbo EverDrive in it.
I think the coolest thing with the Analog Pocket is they have a Game Boy Light filter. And like
Yes, I saw that.
it's so friggin' cool. It's like, oh, it's like a
Cool.
light blue.
I love it. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's amazing.
Everybody talks about the Game Boy Light. Everybody loves it. Me.
I want one really bad.
They're cool. They've went down in price, actually. You can get one for like 80, $90 now. I remember them being around like $200 all day for them. Yeah, you can. They're pretty
Oh,
cool.
they were still up there. I'll have to look.
I have 2 friends who live in Japan, and my goal is I'm gonna go there with an empty suitcase
Fill it up.
and come back with a full suitcase. One day.
Yeah, right.
Retro gaming is so much cheaper there.
It
We're
is.
just talking about that. Me and Mark were talking about that. It's physical goods aren't the same way they are here.
No.
It's just
Yep.
not a thing. They like their portables more. They like their space. They're in much smaller places. Their
Yeah,
houses
you don't have.
and
You can't have like big game rooms. It's just.
yeah,
Especially if you got.
it's not a thing.
Yeah. I think I think it's the size. Like the size of the apartments are just not that big. But I guess
Right.
we'll run into a few news articles that were kind of popping up. One of the first ones I did see recently was there was a report that came out that 343 would no longer make Halo but oversee the development, and then almost within hours there was another report with 343 came out and saying that's not true. We're still heavily involved. So I guess is one wrong? Do we not know? Is Halo development up in the air, or is we just like everyone freaking out for no reason?
I just think it was a rumor that, the last couple have not done well.
Trying to stoke.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised with Microsoft building their their army right now that it kind of makes sense with a more of an oversight position, because 343 the recent Halo games, you can't say the lore isn't there, because like it is, but like I feel like some of the gameplay is kind of falling behind, and that's why Infinite was so cool, because they were like, you know what's working right now? Grappling hooks. You're like, you know what? That is working, Master Chief. Your hook is the way to go. And I feel like, but they were just so slow on everything else. I mean, when that game came out, my first thought was they need to get Forge in here immediately, so the gamers can make the content that they don't have time to make. You know,
Which is sad.
Yeah, and so I feel like if they take some of these powerhouses that they're buying and have them work on the details, and have, something more major, who's tied in with the lore, like your 343s and the ex-Bungie guys working on that in conjunction, I think you're going to have a better product. But as far as like the weird report and then them like denying it immediately, like I think they're, that just happens so much nowadays, right? Where it's like, oh man, I heard that from some guy at the coffee shop that the next Zelda is going to be, a girl. Can you imagine Zelda, a girl? Jokes.
Yeah, right.
But it's like, and then everyone blasts it on the internet, and then everyone has to be like, yo, what the hell are you talking about? So it's hard to take anything at face value that's like a shock article.
Until you get like a hard statement from a studio saying this is actually what's happening. Because obviously their response was just a knee-jerk, no, this is wrong, and then you have to go make an official statement down the road, or they're just gonna ignore it.
I think the timing with that being so immediate with it, I don't know. I mean,
unless there's like an internal leak issue going on.
There's that. I mean, it's hard to say. I like the story for Halo Infinite. I enjoyed what I played. Didn't care about the multiplayer at all. I just could not get into it. But Halo 5 wasn't the biggest fan of, but again, it was okay. It still wasn't a bad game. I also didn't care about I think actually for that one I liked the multiplayer maybe more than Halo 5's story. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5, but it is what it is. I don't know. They tried something different with Halo Infinite. I think that people just got let down. There's been patches that have been needed, a ton of them. and it's just kind of lost its way with the fans, I feel like. And
Yeah.
I think people are pretty mad about 343 taking over. They miss Bungie, and it's probably just
Bungie's never
just
coming
angry
back.
fans. Yeah, they're not coming back with Halo anytime soon. So
I mean,
it is
Bungie's,
what it is.
Bungie's like not even connected with Microsoft right now. So
No.
they just recently cut ties with Activision.
Yeah.
We had someone thinking inside the box from Twitch said Infinite was the first Halo game that I skipped entirely after 343. After the fumbling from 343.
Yeah, I hate saying this, but just like every other game that came out last year, a year later, it's great now.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, play Battlefield
No Man's Sky.
2022. Oh yeah, Cyberpunk is awesome now.
How about you put it out as not a broken mess then, and you won't have all this bad press in your game.
Right.
It's like a whole thing with the game industry, the game developer, the people on the staff. Like, they're being pushed to push this stuff out, right? It's not the people making the game. It's not getting enough time for the game, not having enough people. They're like, we need this $5 million to come in now for this game, and we'll worry about, recuperating and making the fans happy later. Like, it's
gonna cause problems long term though, financially. When your next game comes out and now you're losing a few $1 million in sales because people are hesitant to even buy your game.
But see, it works for Bethesda, right? So
yes and no.
So with the new Pokemon releasing, which I haven't played yet, so I apologize for anyone who really loves it. It really made it click why I think this happens. All of us here, we're looking through the lens of gamer people, right? Like, we care about the games. We want them to be good because we love the stories, we love the characters, what have you.
Yes.
They're looking at it through the business end, right? Okay, we just get out there and get money. But the business end is two parts. Like, they care about the gamers, they care about the money, but realistically, when you take the pie chart of gamer people, like people playing games, there are the people like us who care and have the wall of stuff behind them. And I sure do love, Bubsy. I hated that he was in the 3D one and they messed up his lore because his pants were green instead of blue. But like the majority of people just get a game and they'll never play it again.
Yeah,
Hey, my kid loves Call of Duty. I bought the most recent Call of Duty. After high school, this kid's never going to play video games again because he, is done with games. Like,
yeah,
we're the minority.
Yeah,
like minority.
They cater those filthy casuals.
Because those filthy casuals always ruining my shit.
I mean, that's where they make the bulk of the money from. Is people that just buy a game, they don't pay attention.
Not wrong at all.
Why do you think Madden sells every single year? Like,
definitely not collectors.
If I gave a hell about that series, I would be so mad. You'd see 30 videos from me every year where I'm like, it's the same game, but now Johnny has a different haircut and stats, because that's all they do. I mean, it could literally just be a patch.
Yeah.
But instead, it's a new $70 game.
It's like the same game last year. They just update the roster, update the stats, maybe add in a few new people, but it's literally the same game year after year at this point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the price just plummets.
We haven't gotten an entirely new Madden engine since the end of the PS3, so we've had an upgraded engine for Madden since then.
Why would you do it?
They're banking on it, yeah. I mean,
and then it's
like
not
Grand
even
Theft Auto 5. Why would you make another Grand Theft Auto when you can just rake in the microtransactions?
Yeah, it's with EA, with both Madden. I think it's definitely more with FIFA. It's their online microtransactions that really pump the money. So they're just making money off very little development costs. It's like, here, we'll sell you cards and players, and you're just going to continue to buy
FIFA's the one that has the card packs in it now, like the gacha-esque system. I don't play any sports games that aren't like Mario, right? Like, I like the party sports games, or like Wii Sports, but I kind of used to like playing NHL a little bit, but I'd always be like, I'd grab the one from the year past and get it for like $5-10.
Yeah, exactly.
I think FIFA, it's silly to me, but I have like the collector's mindset too, right? So these people just want the newest game right when it comes out to play with their friends, and that's 98% of the people buying the game. So is it really wrong for them to do that? In our mind, yes, because the game's not going to be worth anything, but is that really what? That's a tough subject, right? Like, so gaming, is it for the moment, or is it for you to buy for it to be worth money later? Is it for you to buy to just make you happy now? Like, it's a whole thing. So
I guess it depends on the individual person why you're buying the
It
game.
does. And that's why we still have what we have with Madden.
I mean, how many friends do you have from middle school and high school who you guys probably played video games every weekend? You know, got together and ordered pizza and played games, and now they don't play them at all. Don't even have a console.
I only talked to one person I went to high school with.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you know, you see him on Facebook or whatever. You're like, this guy didn't have a PlayStation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
He's married, he's got kids. That sounds terrible.
This guy has 5 kids. He didn't have time for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Mark, who do you still talk to?
You. That's it.
There you go.
Everybody else I talk to are
that's
people
your
that
only
I've
base.
met in the
Your
past
only
like 10
base.
years.
Me and Mark are bonded for life.
Yeah, apparently.
We do got a few comments over here. I did want to acknowledge a few of those. Carl said, I think Sony bought Bungie outright. Yeah, they did.
I may have forgotten about
No, it's good. I love the Bubsy comment that came from Retro Rob. We got Thinky Inside the Box said, the majority steers the boat. Retro Rob says, filthy casuals, and Nintendo releases same titles every system release. Thinky Inside the Box said, sports games equal trash, LOL.
There's one acceptable sports game that's ever been made, and that is Neo Turf Masters.
Neo Turf Masters is great.
On the
The only golf game I want to play ever.
It's the best game
Great.
ever made.
Yeah, fair
Great.
enough.
I love it.
All right, so we did have some news. There was reports come out that Skull and Bones pre-orders are being refunded. So
Not surprised.
reports of maybe that game's getting delayed, is getting canceled.
Does
Any
anyone
thoughts on
care?
It
It
been
looked like an
delayed
interesting
6
game.
times. We covered it last week.
Yeah.
They delayed it for the 6th time.
Now
It's
they're
been delayed
refunding
since
pre-orders.
2016. What is going on? Just cancel the game.
That
at
game's
this
in
point,
development
I think,
hell now.
right? Like,
Did you ever watch The Office when they had Will Ferrell on for like 1 or 2 episodes, and it's like, this baby could be in a magazine of baby, it could be the cover baby of babies I don't care about. Like that's what has happened with Skull and Bones for
Yeah.
me. Like at
Yeah,
one
I
point it
never
seemed
cared.
cool, and now it's like I don't even. Who cares?
Is
Like
this game ever going to come out?
just play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, whatever.
that or play the what's the other pirate game? Played it
Sea of
for a
Thieves?
minute.
Sea of Thieves,
Sea of
yeah.
Thieves. I'm sure it's going to
Yeah.
be the exact same concept, just Ubisoft's take on it.
Just more
right?
AI, because Sea of Thieves is like a full PvP for the
They'll have
most
to-
part.
You don't
Yeah.
have
A little
towers
bit of
everywhere.
PvP.
You got to climb to unlock the map, and that's about it.
That's terrible.
Sea of Thieves, the only game where you can just drink a bunch of beer and run around with a hurdy-gurdy vomiting on your captain.
You had me sold at that.
Yep, that's all I need. Game Pass.
I think for like a solid
free.
half hour, we just would respawn and just continually burn our ship to the ground, sink it.
Yep.
It's like, it's fun enough to me. So we did get some news over this past weekend that From Software is planning to show Armored Core 6 in an hour-long showcase sometime next month.
Oh,
So now we
I'm
heard
all for that.
we heard at the Game Awards we got our first reveal of it. Now we're 2 months later. Now we're actually getting a whole hour-long showcase. I don't know if they're gonna talk about other stuff, but more other than just a cinematic trailer. So I know I'm excited. Pretty sure Brandon's excited too.
Very excited about that one. Yeah, we haven't gotten one since the original Xbox and PS3, right?
Yeah.
Probably close to
so
that.
My favorite thing about this whole Armored Core thing is it's been so long that there's a whole generation of people who don't know that From Software has done anything else.
Right.
And the first thing when they announced it were all these like articles like, is it gonna be inspired by Dark Souls? And then like the developers are like, no. Like,
Cause that's a funny
Like
thing.
Dark Souls was inspired by this.
Cause
it's a
like,
robot game. You're gonna roll around.
Because one of the favorite games I love playing was Lost Kingdom on the GameCube.
Lost
It was a
Kingdom.
From Software game, and you could tell from the early works it's got like aspects of like their later games with the whole
It has
the world.
Souls-like elements like to it.
Yeah.
A little
So
bit.
like
yeah, it's,
all their work kind of digs in, but it's been so long since they've done anything from like a Souls like game. They've been doing that for like 15 years straight now.
Yeah, I'm actually, before that game comes out, I'm thinking about popping back in Daemon Ex Machina to just kind of get that feel again, you know, because it's essentially the same game.
Yeah. Unless you're gonna do something new, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, but I don't see myself, you know, in a mobile suit rolling around Molecular God of Blood or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, giant
Yeah.
robots. Like I love me a good Gundam game. So if it's something better than what we get for Gundam games, I'm sold.
Mhm.
I was actually thinking about this the other day. Have you ever played Gundam Side Story 0079 on the Dreamcast?
I haven't.
It's great, but it has the tragic thing of let me just grab a regular controller. So
Is that the
if
one
it's
that
too-
has the FMV sequences? Kind
I
of
don't-
like the not FMV, sorry, like essentially the anime sequences that
I
I
don't.
feel like there
I
was a
have no idea.
game I thought it was a Dreamcast. It might be the PS2. They got like a whole port over to just like a DVD release that you could watch.
So this game is more like it's like a whole new story. But the only downside is if you're looking at the Dreamcast controller, right? You have like this is a Dreamcast controller, but you have like the D-pad and the joystick on the same side.
Yeah,
And you walk around with this and you look with this, so you can't
Huh.
very
look
hard.
and
to do.
walk at the same time.
That's terrible.
And I've always been like, man, I almost want to reach out to like Retro Fighters or someone and be like, can you make a controller for just this game, like please?
Make a new Steel Battalion controller that can sit on my lap.
Have you seen the twin sticks? They have
Yeah.
them for Saturn and Dreamcast.
I have that Saturn one, yeah.
I have the Saturn one as well, and so they made 3 of those games for the Saturn, Japan only, but you can play it with the twin sticks, and it's awesome. And then they made the one for Dreamcast.
That's the
and they-
Virtual On, right? That's what that
Yeah,
was for,
yep.
Virtual On. Okay, yeah.
Yep, and they
That's
made
the
it for
one
the
I have.
Dreamcast also, and they made twin sticks for the Dreamcast, but they didn't make it compatible.
Oh, I didn't know that they made one for the Dreamcast.
Mhm.
It's cool.
Yeah, because Virtual On's on both.
I didn't even. I played on Saturn. That's it. Didn't know.
Good game.
Cool
Fun.
That's
stuff.
not bad at all. We had another comment from Thinking Inside the Box. Did we forget about Outlaw Golf?
I love Hot Shots and Outlaw 2, so I lied. There are a few others I like, but
I lump
I don't-
lump those into those edgy like 2000s like BMX XXX
yeah. I have that on
backyard
GameCube.
wrestling.
We
Yeah,
were
right.
playing that not that long ago, capturing some footage for something. Yeah, it's
That's nice.
backyard wrestling,
We had some other
Starring
comments. Oh, no, what are you saying?
starring ICP.
ICP.
Yeah, there were so many different, and even like Celebrity Deathmatch. I mean, there's just so
Yeah.
many crazy
Forgot about
games
Crazy.
that
like
one.
forget about, and you're like, this was a thing.
That
Oh.
game's so bad too. It's so bad.
I remember
Terrible.
I remember on the Cartoon Network's website there was some Ed and Eddie wrestling game. Best wrestling
Yep.
game ever
Oh,
played.
yeah.
The Flash game, yeah. I remember that too.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
those Flash games, I miss them.
But we also
I
had
remember.
some. Oh no!
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say we had some other comments. GG McGee was saying, "Thank you guys for doing this. You're the best podcast I watch live ever." Carl
Wow,
Peterson
thanks.
said there was Ninja Golf 2, and Retro Rob said Extreme.
Ninja Golf, yeah.
Does Windjammers count as a sports game? Because that's actually the best
No,
one.
it
I've
is
never
the
heard of
best one. It's a great game. I mean, kinda, right? It's essentially just like frisbee, golf, dodgeball,
It's
pong,
badass
like
fun.
sort of. It is. It's great. Did you play 2?
Yeah, and I didn't think I was gonna like it because I don't like the idea of not sprite based, but I thought it was pretty good.
It is good. I like it. I recommend everybody. It's a good arcadey sports game that anybody can play. It's a good
I have an MVS. Where's it?
Oh no, you don't.
Yeah, it's like
You got
Yeah.
an MVS?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
nice.
and so I had to buy. Usually, I try to buy as many like legitimate things as I can, but for the MVS, it's so much easier to get that like 171 in one cartridge and just plug it in and have all the games. But that cartridge historically does not have Windjammers, so I had to buy that one for real, and it was not cheap.
See, that's one that unless I, was a millionaire, it just can't. I can't justify collecting for. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like Neo Geo CD, I have Neo Geo CD games. I've got actually probably 30-ish games for that. But at one point in time, Neo Geo CD was like not sought after like the MVS and AES were at all. It wasn't. So
I actually have the MVS I got for my 30th birthday, present to myself. I was at a bowling alley and I saw they had one like a little arcade thing, and no one was playing it. So I asked the people, I was like, "Hey, would you guys sell that machine?" And they're like, "Oh, it's not ours. It belongs to this guy who runs a lot of like these kind of places, like arcade machine here and there." Gave me his number. It's not like a business; it's just a dude. I told him, I was like, "Look, I've always wanted a Neo Geo machine," and he's like, "Well, hey, I have like my business is keeping these up running," and essentially he had a warehouse of just parts and pieces, and we built that one. And I got it for $400.
I know a couple people that do exactly what you're saying, that do that exact thing. This guy that I know actually had a documentary made about him for making over $1 million selling homies. Do you remember homies? The little guys made over $1 million selling those in machines around Ohio. Yeah, so he made $1 million when those were super popular, but he still deals with like his business is like something amusement, something.
Yeah.
But he does like all the the arcade machines and the gotcha style machines now. Those are really popular at game stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's really cool, man. MVS.
No, definitely.
I love it. I would definitely go with the multi-cart for that, or EverDrive like device, without a doubt.
The guy threw it in. He just gave it to me with it, and I was like, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, why not?
Definitely on my list.
Brandy, we'll find you one some point.
So since I'm taking over the garage, the entire garage.
And how does your significant other feel about that?
Early on board, brought up the idea. No turning back.
No turning back now.
Once I dive into something, it's like it's there. It's already like work in progress type thing.
It's already been approved.
Now I get full reign of arcade machines and pinball machines, and that's my goal in the near future.
That's awesome.
I already have a couple in there. They're just like barricaded with like household decorations of things, and then a big 6-foot Sega cabinet, and then like from those like World of Nintendo era back in Sears, and then another like Sega cabinet. So it's just like too much stuff in there, and too much other kiosks and other things in the laundry room. So it's like that's a perfect spot to just take over.
It sounds like you need to get rid of a few things, and you want to send them my way.
I can't.
I still want that Wild Arms 3 box you have. You know the one.
Yeah, I know.
That's
You're
cool.
not playing it? Japanese.
No,
Send it my way.
It's like a what's that term that people call us? Shelf collectors. It just
That's
stays
funny.
on the shelf.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Ooh.
It is what it is. People are going to say if you play too many games, and people are going to say if you don't play your games enough. So
You can't please everybody.
You really can't win with people.
you can't. It's whatever.
To put your foot on the ground, like this is where I stand on this, and this is why I defended.
Stop caring so long about what people think about my ability to play too many games and not play enough games. Like, who cares?
Play what you're gonna play.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. My wife doesn't like encourage my collecting, but she's not against it either. But she's not like, please go buy something expensive and big for the house. But we went to a barcade over the weekend for a friend's birthday party, and afterwards she was like, "Hey, can you buy a pinball machine?" I was like, "I mean, I guess. I don't know where the hell I put it."
Very expensive.
Pinball's
and
so fun, though. Pinball
Yeah.
is so fun. It is you can't recreate it with just an arcade pinball machine. Like there's those at games units they have, and I've played some of those and they're fun. But like an actual mechanical pinball unit is so fun. Like, it's endless enjoyment out of that.
digital looking ones, and it's
Yeah,
like,
the
that's not
games-
the same.
It's not the same. People love those though. There's a big fan base for those. Big fan
It
base.
is
But
not the
I
same.
want the
It's-
'90s Congo pinball based off the crappy Congo movie with the gorillas.
tell you which the one. I want the Black Sabbath one. They made one for Black Sabbath, one for like AC/DC, like 5 different ones for Kiss. Like, I'm the
Yeah.
music guy. I would like any of those.
Mario.
Godzilla,
Adam's Family.
Terminator,
There's so many good ones.
so many.
Mars Attacks is a good one.
That's yeah. I
love
played that
that.
one too. I haven't played a lot of them. I played one of the like 5 Kiss ones. The Godzilla one I actually played here in Ohio. There's a guy that has like 180 pinball units. He's got them all set up in a and God, what else have I played? There's a couple other ones. A Batman Returns one. I know there's a few Batman.
That would be cool.
That's a classic
Yeah.
one.
There's a new Power Rangers one that came out this year. The
Huh.
person
I
put
did
out.
not
Yeah.
see that one.
Mighty Morphin.
Yeah. It's Mighty Morphin. Yeah.
Of course.
The only one that matters.
Yeah, fair enough. So with some other news, apparently I heard this from a friend. before I saw
did
that on
too,
the
yeah.
news. Rocket League is having an issue. They had a mass banning due to like AI bots. So apparently, like, and this kind of goes deeper into gaming, but like people created like an AI that would just kind of like learn over time, but like AI bots were able to play that game at a high level, like almost like at a competitive level. Like the AI was that good at like playing this game. But I guess it got caught on from what I remember, and some of the people I talked with about the AI was doing something very specifically, like especially like on kickoffs with how it would play. It's just something it was doing something consistently and very precise. It's just a human player just can't play that at that level. So I guess this also brings to an issue like with AI in gaming as a whole, because there's a like it's like 2v2 is like a famous anarchy server on Minecraft. There's I've seen some video talked on that. I can't speak on that as well about like people like creating AI to just do specific things, whether it's just moving around really well, dodging combat, mining, doing everything. So I guess where would you see like the pros and cons of like getting AI more into gaming, whether it's in a single player aspect or it's more multiplayer?
Sounds weird to me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
See, the only time I could ever understand like botting being useful in a game is like if you're
Make
playing
you
like
better, right?
well, I mean, well, I'm thinking like because if I'm playing a first person shooter with an aimbot, like you're not playing at that point. You're just walking around.
No.
But it's not even like an aimbot. It's like you've got a full program that's playing this game for
Nobody's
you.
controlling
Yeah.
that character at all.
I mean, I would probably not do it, but like I can see like in an RPG when it's like, oh, you need to level up, you know, your sewing ability, and like no one wants to do that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll click a bot to go here and farm wheat for me because you know
Or
I need
RuneScape.
the wheat, but I don't want to do it.
But I guess
But
if
like you know,
no, I was gonna say, I guess if you
God.
could get AI to a point, especially it seems to be more of an issue with multiplayer. But if you can train an AI to play like an actual person on some of these games, are you gonna get to a point where you don't know whether like companies could just populate their game with a bunch of AI players and be like, yeah, our game's doing great. Look at all these
Are
players
we
that are
doing
online.
that now though? Isn't
Yeah.
that going on with the aim, you know, like the aimbot stuff? And
But that's aimbot is like an assist. You're talking about a program that's playing a game at a high level, but it looks like another
I see what
player's
you're
playing.
saying.
yeah,
Because all of a sudden, your concurrent players, you know, if they use like a VPN to make it look like all these bots are actually people, then you could be like, oh, the #1 game of the year. You know, what was
There's
that crappy
nobody
game
else
that like
actually playing?
that crashed and burned?
Just recently.
the platinum
they-
game.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. They
Yeah,
just
I want-
canceled it
It's
all
not
together.
coming
I
out
want
now.
to say Forspoken, but that's not it because that's just coming out now.
No, we just
Babylon's
talked.
Fall.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Oh, Babylon's Fall has 800,000 people playing it right now. Look, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I guess you can see the pros, because you see potentially companies dabbling in that, but you also have the nefarious people that are just farming the game for materials and trying to like trade and sell for reward money,
Sell it.
trying to like
Yeah.
affect the like in-game markets of some of these multiplayer games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't get it.
We're gonna get to a point where
I
you
don't-
don't even know if you're actually playing against another person.
I mean,
That'd be
people were
crazy.
doing that. There were, God, what game was on 360 that people were doing that with? I don't know. People have been doing that sort of thing all the time, right?
the
Like it's been
technology
going on
is
for a
just
while, but
getting-
it's just getting better.
It'll
to where-
only probably keep growing, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Because the
AI
AI
stuff's
technology
wild
just
now.
keeps getting bigger and bigger, and eventually you're kind of starting to see it seep into gaming. And like, is it gonna get to a point where you could be on a server with 100,000 people, but you're only like one of like 5 actual people in this game?
Yeah. And then what's the fun of that? You try to talk to someone and they're like just doing the same circle over and over again. You're like,
But
okay.
we'll never know because the AI is
Yeah.
getting so good that like we're going to think there's actually 8,000 people online, but there's really like 10 of us. And
Yeah.
But I think AI will be better in like a single player game.
I
But
don't
every
like
like big single player with a bunch of NPCs, they're all terrible programmed. It's not AI.
single player,
like, this is where you
can
need
get
it.
that for.
Like a
But
Skyrim
the
game
multiplayer
could use AI.
Yeah,
The,
it could
the AI in that
definitely
game's
use AI.
terrible.
so bad.
See, like it's being implemented in the areas where it's not gonna benefit the gamer, which makes sense if you're looking at the two part that you have the people that want to use this to grind but not actually do it, and then the potential for companies to use it to like boost up their game.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. That's like multi-layered.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't know. I don't play enough multiplayer games anymore that
Mm.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
So hard. For sure.
So are we gonna get like we got AI generated art? We're gonna get a fully AI generated game maybe one day. I mean, there's a lot of good things you could do with AI in gaming.
I've heard some super sick AI generated gent music, so maybe.
You're a jet guy?
You know, I have a 7 string.
Oh god. Can't be friends anymore. Sorry.
I guess this is a decent segue. It's not fully AI, but apparently there was a cloud issue with Madden's franchises. And apparently most of these franchises that were all saved on the cloud were lost forever. They only recovered a few of them. So it's like a bigger issue as we go more towards digital only or online or more cloud-based gaming is, well, if it's all cloud-based and that server loses all your progress, something happens to it, that could be an issue with certain games.
I love the response, which was start a new game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, what a dick.
Man, who cares?
But I mean, there's a bigger underlying issue with cloud-based gaming there of what happens if we fully go to cloud-based gaming, kind of like Stadia kind of failed, but I mean, like, if it's all on one server, that thing goes down, like, all your save data, all your progress, all your purchases could be gone, and they'd be like, hey, we got no way to verify it.
My assumption is that Madden doesn't offer, like, a local save or a system save option as well, because, like, almost anything I can think of that's that way, you can cloud save and
but
save
I think
your system.
Some people might not want to save to their system.
Usually you can, but you have to manually do it, and a lot of people don't.
It's automatic on the cloud, so if that happens, and you're like, oh, I've never made it, or I didn't save in, like, 2 weeks, now all this progress is lost.
Jeez.
Right. Yeah,
imagine
that
if we're
sucks.
talking like FIFA where you're buying characters and cards.
Oh, yeah, that would be terrible.
Because EA is not going
Or
to care.
Genshin Impact.
They should be like, buy it again.
No, my Japanese...
My $1,000 of, my costume and
my
ability,
two-handed
like...
broadsword battle maid. Damn it.
Sounds... Yeah, I mean, I would be overly pissed off if I lost all that money from that, but at the same time, I would overly save, I think, to multiple spots, to locally, to, game itself, cloud.
It didn't really make headlines, but I played a phone game that was a gacha game called Final Fantasy Record Keeper.
Yes, I did too.
I played that like week 1 until it shut down. And like I loved that game and it was great and I loved the mechanics and everything. And there are people who spent thousands of dollars and the game just ended. I mean, it ended.
We talked about it on here. It was it sucked. It was a good game.
It was, but like just imagine being like, cost sunk
just
fallacy.
disappears.
Yeah, it's like, all right, all my stuff is gone, all my relics, and you can't even play it in offline mode. Like, let me challenge Neo Bahamut. Like, no.
Yeah, that's so disappointing. I'd be hurt.
But I mean, the other end of that is you're paying with a mobile game, right? So like, there's not even a physical copy of the game, so you gotta expect that's going to happen. This has been going on for forever. Like, I mean, this has been going on since the early days of consoles. Like this stuff. Famicom Online stuff, you could never save any of your stuff from any of that. The Sega Genesis, Sega Net, all that stuff, that was like a limited, while you subscribe to it. Like, it's been going on for the early days of gaming. The Atari 2600 had online gaming, believe it or not. So, like, this stuff is, you never got to keep any of that stuff. So, it's a tough one. Like, I definitely don't like it. I don't support it. Like, I played Record Keeper.
And then there's some Nintendo stuff from the Famicom or Super Famicom that was their online, like, downloaded stuff for, like, some Zelda or some stuff that's, like, forever lost. They don't re-release it because it was for this online service that was, like, Japan only. And unless you made a copy of it, it's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, you can buy copies of some of those, like, ROMs on carts type of deal.
It's also amazing that Nintendo never re-released them, or did Nintendo lose these games? Or
they're not lost.
That one specifically, the thing with the BS Zeldas is you're supposed to play it while listening to the radio at the same time.
Yep.
And so like I have a ROM hack version of the game and you can play it, but it's not limited. The same experience. Yeah.
There's got to be a way they could reproduce that with everything.
Those were
together.
like over a phone line. So like you're playing it while they're live with their service. So you got 1 hour to play the game while they're live. Once they're offline, you can't play it anymore. Like that sort of deal.
Explain what you're doing as you go. I always thought it was funny because like what if you died like near the end? You know what I mean? Like, no.
You be one pissed off kid.
Yeah, I didn't finish.
But it feels like they could reproduce that, just make a recording of what's going on, and you could still relive the experience. It's not like it's not possible.
You can, but
it's Nintendo. It's not going to make them money, so they're probably not going to care.
Like the Sega Channel stuff, that's stuff we don't have right now, right? Yep. Like, so there's a couple of things sort of saved from that were being worked on for that, but like essentially that stuff's all lost. So I was all over the phone line, so that was a little bit different. Yeah, I don't know, like the Ancient Stone tablets, you can get all that on a card, but like the BS Zelda stuff with, playing it while they're live sort of deal, it just ties back to this stuff. It's gone on forever, so it's unfortunate. And I think it's going to get worse from here.
Yeah, probably. We dabbled with it 20 years ago. Now we're going headlong into like online stuff.
Are the kids in 15, 20 years even going to care, though?
Probably. Most of them probably not.
I don't think they'll care.
It's kind of like now you got so many casual gamers who just don't care. Like, I played it once, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to care the same way.
I know this just came out. I know Brandy mentioned it. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Have you got a chance to watch the new Last of Us?
Yeah, we're missing it right now.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, you'll watch it after. It's online.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was great. Actually, I had a weird experience, though. I, like I'm sure everyone shares streaming services. So HBO is one of the ones I don't own. I share it with a friend. And I'm not going to spoil anything with the first episode, but we jumped in, and I didn't realize that it started me where they were at, because they watched it like 9 o'clock. They were on it, and I didn't start till like 30 minutes later, and like it was like right in like the shit, like stuff was happening, but when I jumped in, it wasn't a weird thing where it caught me like disconnected. Like my first thought was like, wow, they just throw you right in. Oh my god! And I watched like the last hour. And then, like, some friends were telling me about stuff. I was like, when did that happen? And I learned that I missed the first 30 minutes. So I had to go back.
It's a unique watching experience.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, they're building it up. Because, like, I was just, like, right at the, like, we're in the truck, we got to go. I was like,
so you're saying they should just start at the 30-minute mark, just go from there?
Yeah. I mean, like, literally, like they got in the truck and were like, taking off. Like, that's where I was at. I was like, man, this just jumps right into it. Let's go. And, there's a lot of world building. But I think the thing that makes me most excited about it is straight up the interview or whatever with the guy making it. It's like, yeah, we're not gonna change anything. Like, why? We already have the story. We're just filming it.
I'm like, cool. You ask a lot of people that, and they're just kind of like, why'd you change it?
Yeah.
I wanted some change, or at least some added content after playing the remaster, the original, the remake for the PS5. Like, I wanted some additional stuff in there, because I now at this point don't have it. I have zero desire to care that much about watching it or rushing out when I've now played the first game 3 different times.
But there's no real way to add more content to that game, though, with the way it's structured. Unless you, like...
That's what everybody's saying, right? They have added a little bit of stuff to it.
But there's not a whole lot you could do. Maybe with the adaptation, not with the games, because they're kind of already set in stone with the story.
Backstory, maybe a bit of some certain characters. So I'm in a weird boat, and I play a lot of games, but I kind of skipped PS4 like entirely, and I just got a PS5 like 2 weeks ago, so I've actually not played Last of Us. And after watching the first episode, I was like, man, I want to go buy The Last of Us and play it. But then I was like, I want to buy, I might as well buy the best version, right? The PS5 remaster version. But then I was like, I don't want to spend $70 on this game. It just, it's a hard time for me to be like, yeah, a remaster is $70.
To be fair, you could buy the PS4 version for like $20, and it's essentially the same game. Just it's graphically a little less, but it's essentially the same game.
The remake for $40 over at Walmart, at my Walmart, the remake that just came out a few months ago. So
$40 wouldn't be bad.
I've had it discounted there. I don't think that anybody's bought it. The game's been released so many times, like nobody cares.
Most people that really already played it.
I would be the target market for it. Someone who never had the game and just got a PS5.
Yeah, they've had the yellow tags on it for at least a month, and I didn't pick it up. I got it for Christmas, or I wouldn't have bought it because I don't need to play it third time. But I played it again, and
I'd say the first game's definitely worth it because it's universally people really like the game. Obviously, the story, there's nothing new with the story. It's kind of like that zombie-esque, but it's the interaction with the characters that really drives the whole game and the story. The second one is kind of hit or miss. When there's a lot of controversy when that game came out. It's a whole mess. So you could probably dig back into the second one.
I feel bad for the developers on that because it's such a thing, and this is for all games. When you come up with a sequel, it's like, what do? Do you give them more of what they want and then get yelled at for making the same game over again, or do you try to flex your muscles and do something different and then get yelled at because you changed it? You know what I mean? It's like,
there were those people, but there's a lot of people that gave like legit criticism. Because a lot of people that had legit criticism was based on like how the story was structured. Because it's like I can't say anything without really spoiling like the core of the story, but people didn't like maybe one or two plot points, and then mainly how the story was structured. Like you could have made it a lot better. But I think a lot of the issues then came with this, how the studio reacted to all criticism, whether it was like bad faith or good faith criticism. They didn't have the best response as a studio, which really caused a lot of issues when it came out.
There's one thing, like, I don't want to spoil the game for anybody, but like a lot of people are really mad about the ending, right? Like, you know, you build up this whole thing and then it's like, whoof. But like I have a complaint. I know the story. I've watched like friends play through the whole game. Yeah. And my complaint on the ending is different. I mean, like, it's a complaint that I've heard other people say, but like I don't know if I can say it like without spoiling anything.
It's kind of hard.
Like, almost impossible. it's like you have done so much violence that like by the end, you know, to not be violent is like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like the writing is just not there from the first game. It's just like this doesn't make sense from a story point. Like,
it kind of it's I think it's the incontinuity of it is what makes it not make sense. Like a really good example. Did you guys watch the Wednesday show on Netflix?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So you did watch it? One of you?
I did.
So,
yeah.
You did. Okay.
My daughter's obsessed.
This is not really a spoiler. It's just a really weird, like, extreme thing that is like not continuity that no one realized. And I didn't even realize it until someone pointed it out. But like, it's equivalent to that. So the whole thing is like, you know, Wednesday Addams has like psychic powers that comes from her mother's side of the bloodline, right? And then it all started with way in the past, this character named Goody Addams. And so, okay, and you watch the show and you just accept that. But think about it. She's getting all these powers on her mother's side. And the great-great-great-great-great-grandmother is Goody Addams. Addams is from Gomez's side. That doesn't make any sense. Like...
I didn't notice.
Right?
I didn't even think.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah, so that's like that concept. If you were to take that concept and apply it to Last of Us, that's the only way I can not spoil Last of Us Part 2. Because like it's that thought process in the end of why Last of Us Part 2 doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's one of a dozen
fundamental.
issues with that game.
There's issues with the first one. I love the first Last of Us, but
it had the second
story
one
as a whole kind of has issues from the start of the second game, but the ending is, you know, obviously the big issue overall for people. I think there's started to be issues with the whole concept. Like, I don't know.
But a lot of the issues didn't rear their ugly head until the second game.
Yeah,
on top of the issues with the story itself, like the legit criticism with the story.
Right.
And then everything just kind of compounded on itself.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the same. I wonder if it's going to be like Metal Gear Solid 2. Remember, like, when everyone got baited into... And then all of a sudden you're playing as Raiden, and you're like, what the hell? Like, I wonder if, like, way in the future, Last of Us Part 7, everyone's going to be like, dude, 2 is the best one.
That would be ironic, especially how it is now.
Yeah. And this one character comes back in 4 as a cybernetic ninja. It'd be crazy.
It was a crazy time when that game came out, because you also had the Ghost of Tsushima come out at the same time. So you had polar opposite reactions to games. And it was a good time. Was it 2020, 2019? It was a good 6 months of just following like all this the social media dumpster fire going on.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I don't
now.
What's that?
I was just now it seems like the big social media thing recently is like this whole Dead Space versus Callisto kind of scenario. It mirrors that. where everyone has these high hopes for Dead Space now because Callisto failed to meet whatever expectation people had.
People put too much expectation on its standalone game.
Hey, I thought that game was awesome until the final boss, and then I thought it was the worst game.
Callisto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
final
haven't played
boss
it yet.
made me so mad. The problem is, it's not that it was hard; it's that it was fundamentally different than the whole game. It's kind of like Bioshock's final boss. You're like, what the hell is this? Like, this is stupid.
Such a letdown.
Yeah, it's like, why am I fighting the Hulk? Like, this is dumb.
I mean, I don't like. I from the beginning have wondered why people put all their eggs in the, the remakes basket when it's probably going to be something along the lines of like the Last of Us remake, like a scene for scene remake, right? Like that's probably what they're going to do.
Isaac talks. So, on a fundamental level, it's at least that different.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm going to grab it. I definitely didn't plan on grabbing Callisto New, like, and especially now after seeing like the mass majority of people just kind of give it a thumbs down. It's like, maybe I'll try it when it's $10-15.
I love how they pushed out the New Game Plus 2 weeks early to make sure it came out ahead of Dead Space 2 or Dead Space Remake.
That's funny.
I love it.
But no, we appreciate you having you on. Do you have any socials you want to plug?
I mean, yeah, I guess I have my YouTube channel, Blips and Pips, YouTube/Blips and Pips. I have an Instagram too that I'm semi-active on, and I never go on the Facebook, so I'm sorry.
I noticed that when I went to put you in the first post and went back. Like, oh, yeah, you just said it's 2021.
Well, I mean, like, no one ever went to it. I was like, why waste my time? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you linked to everything, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do videos weekly, every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern. It used to be Tuesday and Saturday, and, like, I had that schedule literally for, like, 2 years, never missed a video, and I was just like, man, I can't do this anymore. It's too much.
No, fair enough. I can understand that.
Yeah. We'll link you down there for everything.
Yeah. Come on.
And appreciate having you on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Brandy, for introducing us. It's cool. Made another friend, and good show.
Yeah. Appreciate you, everybody, for watching as well. But yeah, for everybody watching, we got some more of all these socials will be linked down below, and unless anybody else has anything to say, we'll see you all next time.
Like, comment, subscribe, the usual. Check you later.
Peace out, everybody.
Yeah.